Hey everybody, so it's Marty the JavaScript party and my buddy Rhett. Hey Rhett, I think she's really starting to get the hang of this, what's going on. She does love to perform, but she does not like to perform on cue. She wants to do her own thing. She's very independent minded, not super coachable. She would be one of these like uncoachable but very talented employees. She does her own thing when she wants to do it, how she wants to do it, but she does a pretty good job when she does do it, when you can finally get her to do it. So I got a chance to play with my cone a little bit. For some reason, like when I upload now to just kind of starting maybe yesterday, like my uploads just take a lot longer. I know the files have gotten a lot bigger and then the processing takes a lot longer. So processing used to only take like 5 minutes. Now processing seems to take it like um, an hour, and the upload used to take maybe 5 seconds, and now it takes it like 5 minutes. And it doesn't seem to be related to the size because it used to be faster. So I don't know if Google changed something or possibly, yeah, who knows? It's not. There are certain things that you can concern yourself about, and there's something you can do about it, and then there's certain things that there's nothing you can do about it. So there's no reason to concern yourself. But anyways, I started playing around with this cone thing. I think it's really cool. I'm gonna change the starting Z position to 1 so that you can kind of see. And like I think that that's going to be would be one of the strengths of this application is like like when you're trying to set up an image, and let's say you want to make it for like a t-shirt or something, you want to try different sort of distances, but like with this tool you could kind of slowly go, oh, okay, is that what I want, is that what I want? You can try different, maybe that's what I want, maybe that's what I want. You can just play around with it and see what you want. Like here, the shadow is very jaggy. You see all these little things, and then like the point in between the cone and the ground has this white line. Now you probably don't want that, so then you go like that. Maybe there's things you can do within to sharpen it up within the tool itself. So now it's jaggy, but you don't see as much white line. And then you can go back, if you go back far enough, sort of loses it's smoother. And if I remember correctly, there is something we could do to make the shadows less jaggy and things like that. There's just all kinds of stuff. But anyway, so that's a pretty cool little image of a comb, and I think it's been a lot of fun to set that up. Um, I think the next one I might try would be maybe a 2D one, because I'm like, what the point? What's the heck the point? What in the world is the point of having like a 2D object in a 3D environment? But then I realized, oh man, that might actually generate like the perfect eclipse where you just have this 2D thing going in front of a 3D thing, and maybe you get a better eclipse effect. But anyway, so I think I might probably will do like the 2D circles next, but for now it's probably best to um, just try out cones like I just did, and then uh, get it committed and merged. So today I'll just commit everything, and then I have some stuff I got to do. Okay, so this is gonna be its own commit. Okay, so git commit dash m, and it say adds more readme stuff, and then I think all of these. So we just want to take a quick look, just make sure there's nothing silly like a console log or something in any of these things. And it is kind of a good time to just sort of, thank you, Rhett, to kind of see if things make sense. So I think all we did was add this cone geometry to this. It is funny, like to think like, why is mesh material and and these geometries, why are they together? That would be an interesting investigation, or as people in the agile world like to call it, spike. But then here is a good Like that makes a lot of sense. Like the oh, we're just importing. Okay, that we're not actually doing. So shapes, we added the ability to add a cone geometry. I think that makes sense. And then types, we decided to add. So this is the weird one, right? Because we have geometries and materials together. That seems something seems off about that. Um, Supported meshes, but I guess because I don't think a mesh. So there's something wrong with this name, right? Supported meshes. Box geometry is not a kind of mesh, and neither is normal material. So this might be a good time to try to figure out why we call it a supported mesh and if supported mesh makes sense. I think this is sort of a red flag that there's something fundamentally incorrect about the application at the moment. So, but I don't think it's worth digging into because, you know, we have got nine, maybe, I don't know if there's 31 or 20 or 30 days in this month. Let's see. 31 days in this month. In the month of December, there are 31 days, so that means we have 10 more days to work on this application. So I do not think that whatever this is, it may be an Achilles heel to this application, but this application is not going to be around long enough to ever expose that Achilles heel, so it's not really worth digging into. And if you know, Achilles sort of it references like this Greek half man, half god, I believe it was that like he was like totally impervious to damage except through one fatal point in his body that then made him vulnerable. So that is sort of like this might be exposing a vulnerability within the application, but like I don't think that vulnerability is going to present itself because I think till the end of the year, all I'm going to do is add more meshes or add more geometries. So it's not a big deal. So here, this makes total sense, right? We had a bunch of cases. Probably, I don't know. I like this because I reread these comments. When I was implementing this, I just sort of ignored it, and then later on, I came back and I do remember this. This is like, for some reason, ChatGPT added all this extra code when we were asking it how to do it, and then it didn't seem like it was doing anything. But you never know as you move down and the application starts to get bigger and bigger if whatever one of these things might have suddenly, like, you just uncomment that and everything starts working. There's some weird bug, and now the bug goes away if you uncomment this. So I left it. I do not think it'll come back, but I do like the fact that it sort of captures the fact that ChatGPT does not give you great code. It gives you code that you can get started with and code that is useful and is definitely can save you a tremendous amount of time, like a massive amount of time. But the code it gives you is not refined and ready to roll. Let's see, so this looks good. Apparently, if the mesh has been changed, then we need to, and it's a geometry, then we need to do this stuff. And I never really dug into at the time, like what this is doing. I just sort of copy and pasted um, something that was similar, and I just sort of guessed that um, since the only thing we can really do on this is the radius and the height, that's what we needed to do. So I think I copied sphere, and then I just sort of copied this stuff and sort of zombied my way through that. I believe that these jaggies go away if you add more of these. Like, so if you make this like 64, you'll get less jaggies, but the performance will go down. So just depending on whatever your goals are, it may or may not be worth it. And then we had to make some changes, and we needed to add one of these to the drop down so that you could choose cone geometry, and then we needed to add sort of extra things that would allow radius and height to be displayed for cones. Um, you know, I think it would be nice if we didn't have to do this, right? Like if we just knew how to build everything based on meta metadata. Yeah, Rhett. Yeah. Um, but we may not. I actually think Rhett is sort of doing a very important role for me right now because I really like my instincts are to be very annoyed with her at the moment because she's making a bunch of noise as I'm trying to get stuff. But this is exactly what happens at work, right? Like you're trying to focus, you're trying to do coding, and then someone's coming up and asking you questions where it is literally like it's going to take you an hour and a half to get through, getting them mentally where they need to be so that they can understand the concept that they're asking you about. So that harassment that she's giving me right now is actually very good because I can sort of practice dealing with those feelings in a safe environment. So a safe space. Um, but like I do think the whole point to having a safe space is so that you could practice for when you're in an unsafe space. So like like I have a situation where like I can get annoyed and I'm on camera so I can see myself and I can and work through this stuff. But at the same time, the whole point is that when I'm at work and I'm coding away and someone just starts bugging me, or if I'm coding away and my, you know, whatever instant message sort of communication scheme pops up saying that someone's, and it, oh, so this annoys me to no end. I'm really trying to work on it is when someone just says hi in your name. Hi, Marty. And you're like, oh man, so now I got to stop everything, get in there and say hi back. And then, how you doing? And then you're like, good, how are you? And then they're like, good. And then they wait 30 seconds and then you see that they're typing and then they type for 2 minutes and then they hit send and they have like a 3 word question. And they're like, you see them type for like 2.5 minutes and then all of a sudden it's like, do you know anything about this? You're like, it literally. So I had to sit here and stare at my screen for 2.5 minutes, or try to go back into a flow state into code for just 2 minutes, um, and then your only answer is yes, and then they start typing again for 2.5, 3 minutes, and then they get back. And by then, it's so easy to be so frustrated that you don't even know, like you just want to just lash out at them. But obviously, that is not what you want to do. Obviously, you want to try to help them get to where they need to be, or you need to, say, oh yeah, I can't help you with that or whatever. But you need to be mentally in a good spot at that point. So Rhett's constant annoyance here is actually very, very important for me. So thank you, Rhett. Thank you for your service. Um, so all of this looks good. So let me add it. Git add dot. So remember, we staged the README just through the tool. And this, we've looked at everything and decided we're just going to add everything. It's very important you do not get in the habit of saying git add dot all the time because you'll end up checking in something you do not want to check in if you get into that habit. You should only do get at dot once you've verified that you want everything. So, and I cannot tell you how often people check in stuff that they did not want to check in, and it can just be an absolute nightmare. The big one is the package JSON package. Yeah, there's like a package file that gets generated when you do an npm install, and usually they do not want you to install your dev to upload your dev one. They want you to leave whatever's there because they've kind of validated that works in production. They don't want you to then tell it to upgrade. They want control over that. So then they'll be like, "Oh, could you please re, revert the package one?" And that can be huge. It could be tens of thousands of lines, hundreds of thousands of lines of code, and trying to revert that, especially if it's part of a um, bigger commit, can be very, very challenging and can really make your day unpleasant. So I would definitely suggest doing it this way. Git commit and implement cone geometry. And then git push. And then since we made this locally, we have to go tell GitHub that this is a branch. And now it's over at GitHub. I imagine this is a long video, 15 minutes. That's not too bad. So tomorrow I'll do the merge. I'll do the pull request and the merge, and maybe get started on the next mesh that we want to add. Like I said, there's only 10 days left in this application, and I guess I will want to do another build and push out to DreamHost so that they have the latest code out there. Um, and you know, one thing that this doesn't have, so let's go to the README. So could README is a version. We should add a version, a way to tell what version of the application. Uh, you know, it's very helpful to everybody to know, like, oh, okay, this is this version. You know, it can be very good indicator that something went wrong. Anyways, happy coding, everybody. Bye.